Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford coupe. She had a racing cam and a Super George. Look at Buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
I got to tell you what's going on in the car world, because it's finally, we have something to talk about. It's been a long time since we had anything to talk about. Every Tuesday, 4 p.m., Lencioni's in Linwood. Jack Lencioni's an old friend. He's got a great restaurant out there, and he's got a cruise night every Wednesday at 4 p.m. till when everybody goes home. He doesn't care. He'll stay out as late as you want. But it's a great cruise night. It's a great place to eat, so it's fine. It's a good deal. It's right there in Linwood on Glenwood-Dyer Road, right before you get into Dyer. I mean, it's right on the curve. Blue Top this weekend. Oh, and every weekend, of course. This Saturday, huge cruise all day. They're going to be cruising in and out, all the hot rods. Anybody that's got something to show off in the region will be driving through there to show it off. And everybody that wants to see it will be sitting there having a burger. And I go there, of course, for the food. And, well, I like the hot rods, too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a gearhead. But now Sunday at 7 a.m., swap meet. Hadn't been able to have these for a while. He's having this swap meet. It starts at 7 a.m. on Sunday, goes to 11. It's a great swap meet. Anything you're looking for your hot rod or somebody else's hot rod, or if you just want to look around, there's going to be a lot of stuff there available for you. And the same thing at 4 p.m. on Sunday, the Nick Danger Band comes on. Big time band. They're fun. They have a great thing there on Sunday evening. That's just a fun thing for the whole family. And you can get a phosphate. Make-A-Wish. Make-A-Wish is finally back. They're solid. September 20th. We're going to have Daryl on maybe next week to talk about it. The Cedar Lake Town Grounds. It's a huge, huge show. Great charity. Make-A-Wish is just like one of the best you can have. Every year I have the Make-A-Wish kid on the show the week after or so, and find out where they're going and what they're doing. And it's just a great thing what they do for kids that are desperately ill. They collect money or they make money to send them on a little vacation of their dreams wherever they want to go, and it's pretty cool, really pretty cool. I think the last year's kid went to Australia. At least that's where he told me he wanted to go. We'll see what happened there. But anyway, that's September 20th at the Cedar Lake Town Grounds. We'll talk more about that in the weeks to come, because it's coming up real fast. The 20th is a week or two away, is it? And we're going to be on it, so let's go for it. Anyway, all right, I want to welcome now to the show. We haven't had him for a while, but I know you've seen him before with me. Chuck Pullen, main engineer for Me TV, and just an engineer supreme. He helped put all this together. This has all been a lot of fun putting this studio together. He was one of the main cogs in this, but the side of him you don't know is he's a gearhead. He's a closet gearhead.
I don't know that I go that far.
You're not a closet gearhead? Are you out of the closet gearhead?
I mean, gearhead is a subjective term. Is working on a DeLorean really making you a gearhead?
Yes, it is. Okay. No, working on the DeLorean makes you a knucklehead. But if you're stuffing a V8 Chevy engine in that DeLorean to make a hot rod, now you're a gearhead.
Well, you got to be a welder first, and then you become a gearhead.
I understand. I didn't know that, but yeah, you're right. I would love to see the plans. You bought, somebody actually had plans for that.
We need plans? We don't need no stinking plans. You just go out there with the welder and just keep welding until it fits.
Till it fits. Yeah,
cut until it fits, and then weld it back together.
And weld it back together so it stays.
Well, it's kind of like what Vinny talked about earlier. Is interesting is that the DeLorean had a problem with the undercoating of the frame. So a lot of the DeLoreans, you'd have brake master cylinder would leak. You'd leak fluid, and it would basically they had that almost like a rubberized coating that would flake away. So a lot of the DeLoreans, especially in the northern climate, we had issues where a lot of our DeLoreans kind of the bottoms rusted for one reason or another, whether you got brake fluid on the front or you had leaks in the back. And so a lot of them, like in my case, we literally had to redo the entire frame right off the bat.
Yeah, I know that, but the body could not rust, though.
Right, the body could not rust, but the frame was just a traditional frame that came from, where did it come from?
Renault, no?
Yeah, well, no, it was Lotus. So Lotus designed it. It was a Lotus frame, but it was a traditional frame that just had an epoxy on it, epoxy coating that just sort of flaked off, and that was it. You get water underneath it, and, that'd be it.
And that rust, I'll be darned.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the other thing is Chuck is a big fan of electric cars, a big fan of the new technology. Of course, look at these guys. Eric is young, he's young. Chuck is young. They're big fans of the new technology, and traditionally, I'm not. I mean, I am and I'm not. I love change. I love progress. I just can't, guys. I to this day, I can't get it into my head to let a car drive me around. I just can't do it. I want a steering wheel and a brake pedal and a gas pedal. That's just how
you still have that. You just have the option of not needing it. That's the whole thing. You still have that. And then technically we're not at the point where, you're supposed to still have your hands on the wheel and you're not supposed to be taking a nap quite yet. We're not that far away.
We're not at autonomous.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're close. I saw the other day there was a guy, I was on the highway and a guy was just reading the newspaper in his Tesla. I was going to send you a picture because I know how you love those things.
Well, you know what? Tesla. Now here is the crow that I got to eat. At one time, Chuck said, you got to buy Tesla stock. It's going to go.
Oh, I was going to say, I hope you took my advice on that one.
Actually, I did not. I haven't bought any stocks in ages. I just stopped.
Oh.
But,
ooh,
big money. He split now 5 ways.
5 ways. So his stock reached $2,000 a share. And the 5 ways. So he's got a 5-way split. The stock is now back at what it was when I first started buying it. And now that you have 5 times as many. There was a point where I had my entire retirement in Tesla. And I'm like, this may be a bad idea. So I would be able to retire today if I had not listened to my wife and just kept all my money in Tesla.
Wow. Well, and I just can't see it. Now, you know what? And I got to ask you something. You keep an eye on the Tesla car. The Tesla cars have traditionally been quite expensive. Now, there is a lesser expensive one out there.
Right.
I just haven't heard any stats about the sales. I haven't seen that they're booming. How is their stock doing?
I mean, their Model 3 is literally sold out. I mean, I knew people that were putting down deposits even just basically just on hearsay. They're putting down deposits. They're just now getting their cars. I mean, that's the whole thing is that as far as sales go, it's as many as he can make. I mean, that's the thing is whatever he, I mean, and obviously you look at his stock prices. If he said we're having problems, his stock would not be soaring and he wouldn't having 5-way splits if he was having issues.
He's building them at one plant too.
Right.
There's only one plant in California now. I think there's one in China, or there's going to be, but I don't think that's going to have cars that are going to come here. I don't know why they would, but he's got one plant in California. He's talking about building his truck in Texas. And now, come on, you can't tell me you like the looks of that
I mean,
truck.
think about what a visionary he was. My joke is this. I said, think about this. Elon Musk comes out with a truck a year or two ago, and his first demonstration was, I'm going to smash the window. So he comes out and he says, I'm going to build a truck with bulletproof glass. And everybody said, what crazy guy? Why would you want a truck with bulletproof glass? Now here we are in 2020. Everybody's going, Elon, I need a bulletproof car. Where's that?
You're right. It would be nice to have bulletproof glass and everything right now.
I'm just saying, smash proof. I mean, just think about. I'm just saying, you have a car that you can't smash the windows out.
See, Eric is dying for a car that drives him around. He thinks he just can't wait.
Not yet, but I'm like leaning towards it. I know for a fact that maybe my daughter's future, it'll probably be that way.
Oh, absolutely, right.
Where my daughter doesn't really need a driver's license; she just needs to hop in the car and
there's an interesting thing about there's a lot of younger people that aren't getting their licenses, especially in places where you have transportation options. You have Uber. I know young kids that literally, they don't have a license; they just get Ubered everywhere, or they bug your parents for a ride or whatever. But I mean, that's the thing is a lot of younger people just aren't doing that. And again, I'm not saying that's the future I want necessarily. I still want to be able to buy gas. I still want guys to go to Blue Top with their classic cars. I don't want that to go away. And that's the problem we run into with kind of government regulations and things. They say you would get rid of all of that and replace it with this. Like, no, I want a choice. I want a choice of having a Tesla for my go to work car, and I want to be able to drive a DeLorean. Guys want to drive a muscle car on the weekend. We should have the choice. And that's what I'm always a champion of.
Well, that's what I'm afraid is going to go away.
Right. I agree with you.
It bothers me. And plus, I watch all these autonomous new startup companies, of which there's dozens.
Right.
Putting out cars and taking them to major cities in America, and having them drive certain routes.
Right.
So now if you're in Vegas. I rode that one in Vegas. I really did.
The bus, right?
Well, it's
the
a little
trolley.
bus. It's a little trolley.
Right.
Nobody's driving. You just get in and sit down, and it takes you down the strip from point A to point B. And you get out, and that's the only thing it drives. But it drives without hitting anybody or anything. If people walk in front of it, I mean, it stops. It stops at the lights. It does what it's supposed to do. So I guess autonomous driving does work. Automated driving is there. But I don't think it's all the way there. And it bothers me that I could have been in a car that someone would run over somebody.
Well, this is a good segue you brought up, George, because this is one of the articles I want to talk about today. Was the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration launched a autonomous vehicle online tracking tool. It's a map that shows people the places where vehicles are being tested. So in my case, I would go out of my way to go to places like Columbus, Ohio, Detroit, St. George, Utah. You can go there and see where they're testing it. In your case, you'd stay away from those places.
Yes,
You'd say, I'm not going to drive through Detroit anymore because they're testing autonomous cars, but you can actually go. There's an online tool now that you can go and look and see who's testing what in what cities.
I saw that. It's an online app. I had that same story or similar that was saying that this is like what's going to happen. I mean, and it is what's happening. We've been talking with Chuck Pullen about different things about electronic cars and autonomous driving. He told you about an app that the NHTSA has where you can find out where they're testing the autonomous cars if you wanted to get involved or go take a look at it. Or also, the NHTSA announced they have another app. NHTSA is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. They have another app called it's called Safer Car. And it can immediately notify you when a safety recall is issued on your vehicle. What you do is you store your vehicle VIN number in that SafeCar app, and when something comes up about your car, a safety recall or any kind of notice, you will immediately be notified via your smartphone. This NHTSA is getting into the 20th century too, Chuck. What do you think?
Definitely better than getting those daily postcards about your airbag recall or something like that.
Oh, or the phone calls about your warranty. God. Oh, my God. I get that all the time. I just bought a new car. How's my warranty expired? But anyway, the NHTSA is working hard to make sure that this thing goes. They actually are in favor of self-driving. They're working with different states. Different states are allowing more than others. If you notice, Chuck, the rules are different everywhere you go.
Right.
It'll all come together eventually, I'm sure. Via some kind of national code for self-driving and autonomous driving. I want to know now, and plus now Tesla's all electric. If I want to jump in my Tesla and drive from Chicago to California, where am I going to charge it? Is there a list of charging?
Well, and so it's actually built into the GPS of the car, and actually, so like for instance, one of the first things that Elon did is he wanted to have a nationwide coast-to-coast supercharger network. So you can actually, like I-80, for instance, when I go up and down I-80 out to the East Coast, there's a supercharging station, every maybe 1,500 miles or something like that. And the car is actually smart enough where it says, I'm here, we need to go and charge now. So basically says, this is where you want to go, but I need to stop at this point. So it knows, it's smart enough to realize this is how much battery I've got. And it actually looks at, for instance, even if you're driving your car, people have different habits. It's kind of the idea of like with the guys, hyper mills, the guys that drive behind a truck to try to save gas. Depending on your driving habit, it learns your habit and it says, okay, I'm supposed to get this many miles. You're kind of a hot rod. We only get this many miles out of a charge. So now we got to stop, here, there, whatever. It knows when to stop.
The car says, Daddy, I got to go potty.
Right,
yeah,
right,
okay,
right. So, that's the whole thing is that, especially like I said with the superchargers, you're not waiting hours and hours. You basically can stop, plug it in, go grab a bite to eat, whatever, and be on the road again.
Well, I've read about them. I just didn't know of how many there were. Is our infrastructure such that because electric cars are coming. This is it. We're going to have them, and they're going to be everywhere.
Well, and that becomes an interesting discussion. We've talked about this in the past. You look at places like California that are traditionally sort of more progressive towards electric cars, yet they have infrastructure issues, So, there are states that have, and sort of that was one of the things that people talked about during like the California wildfires. They were shutting down the grid to prevent wildfires. Well, how do you leave if you're at an electric car? How do you charge your electric car to get out of Dodge?
Exactly.
Well? So, I agree there's a lot of things that need to be figured out. One of the things I would love to see in my lifetime is imagine you put enough solar panels on your garage that you come home. So basically you have a garage that's charging batteries in the garage, the power wall, which is something that Elon is working on. Imagine, your garage basically stores enough energy so you come home at the end of the day, plug in, and you're getting free energy. That would be a great thing as a society to get to. Well,
it was what we need to get to, because if you think about it, electricity is not green.
Right.
It's not. It's created
Completely agree. Right.
It's created by coal plants and oil plants or whatever, firing, and a green car is not necessarily, electric car is not necessarily an eco green car, but if the solar system, if we get that to the point where it does its thing, and it can be harnessed on a regular basis, even on cloudy days, because there's what do they call that coming through the air for the plants from the sun? It's there even on cloudy days. The actual ray, it's just got to get to where we can collect this electronics or this energy,
right,
and store it, and then give it to our cars. Actually, our house would be nice. We could run our house on it. I mean, if it would just charge our cars, I could settle for that. I could actually settle for that. If it would just be in the garage, that would be a boom to our industry. It would be terrible for the oil industry, and who cares? We've survived on that oil for too long.
Right.
And it's dirty and it's nasty, and we know it. It's just like the coal industry. I mean, it's not something we can sustain forever. We got to get past that. It's going to end up being electricity and solar, and it's going to be big, and wind. The windmills are good.
Right. When on a nice day, I mean, I go by the windmills in Indiana quite a bit, and it's really interesting to see how little they actually run, though. Even on days that you think they would, there's kind of a joke down there. It's like, they actually stop on windy days because they can't handle it. And so it's kind of like the weather it's like the Goldilocks. The weather has to be just right for the windmills to turn.
Exactly.
Otherwise, they're not generating electricity.
Otherwise, well, they turn them off, too. They
basically lock them up, yeah.
They lock them up so that they can't turn because the actual battery system is being overloaded.
Right.
Because of the generation of the power. So we've got a long way to go.
Right.
We've got a lot to learn, but the electric cars are our future. Let's face it, they're here. They're going to be the future of our... They're not going to be a future of our fun. They're not. We're still going to have our hot rods and our blue tops.
I don't know. I mean, have you seen the Tesla in ludicrous mode can beat any of your hot rods any day of the week? Let's be honest.
Tesla in ludicrous mode is bad. I understand.
I mean, you need a battery charger after 10 minutes, but
yeah, well, you only get a little bit of ludicrous mode. But when you get it, it'll throw you back in the seat.
Right.